Hi, this is Sonia Vega. This is my MP for Monday the 15th on the stages of Shaw's model. I read a couple of articles. One of them I actually really liked. It was really good about explaining the different stages, which I'm sure you know. So I'm going to tell you just what I thought was interesting from what I read. On the first stage, what caught my attention was how reading to children actually provides them with the opportunity to acquire the knowledge that they're supposed to be acquiring, like their vocabulary, the syntax, the sound structure of the words. And so it brought back to mind read alouds, which we should be doing a lot at the primary level. We do at least during that age group, and I know a lot of parents don't always see the importance of, but as I was reading this, I thought, it's actually something we should really pay attention to and really push our parents to do, not just what we do in the classroom, but try to encourage our parents to also do it at home. What I caught my attention from stage two and came to mind was silent sustained reading, which we do, I know, at the third grade level, not too much at the second grade level. But it did caught that particular practice kind of caught my eye when I was reading stage two, just because they do say that they learn, they gain this knowledge from practicing, which I think should be a big deal. And when the students get to select their own books and something that's of interest to them, then that's really helpful. From stage one and two, there was a part that kind of put them together and explained how stage one and stage two go from learning to read to reading to learn, which I think is a big part. And I saw that a lot when I was working with third grade. And I really saw the difference between the lower grades and the upper grades, and how it is that at some point during stage two, they're actually reading to learn certain information. I thought that was really interesting because I worked on that a lot when I was doing third grade. Stage three, that one caught my attention. It's the grade level that I was working with this past year, and I had a couple of questions myself, like what do I do with my struggling readers? Do I really take the time to go back and show them fluency and, the decoding and strategies like those. So when I was reading this article and they were talking about stage three and what that implies, right? And I really thought about my kids. It did say on stage three when it was describing that it's better, it suggested that during this stage we present them with materials that only have one viewpoint, and this is stage three, phase A. And then when they get to phase B, then we start showing the materials with more than one point of view, because at that point they should be able to analyze and be critical of the material that they're reading. And then stage four, of course, which is the high school level, this is where they should be able to, already have all the skills that they need and just be adding to their knowledge, because at this point they're reading to learn something they didn't know. Stage five, of course, I thought of because there is a statement there that says reader selects material to serve a purpose, which I think most of us at that point, when we get to that grade level, at that age, it's either we love to read and we're reading on our own for entertainment, or we're only reading things that we feel we have to read, whether for school or just for work or anything like that. A couple of thoughts they mentioned. One was that the stages do depend one on the other. So if they have not developed in one stage, then they'll lack in the other. This is the part that kind of I felt answered that some of the questions I had this past year, because it does say that if one stage is not completely developed or has not been developed through good classroom instruction and at home, then they will lack, and they'll lack that knowledge, and they'll lack in the following stage, right? So this I thought was interesting, because then I thought about my sixth graders that cannot read, and I always wonder, should I really slow down or take the time to do a small group instruction or guided reading and just show them reading strategies on how to decode and help them with their fluency? And after I was reading this, I felt like I need to go back and work with the students that are lacking phonemic awareness and that are lacking fluency, and to find a way to help them fill those gaps in the stages that they had previously in order for them to actually be successful at stage 3, which is the age group that I was teaching. That I thought was interesting. What tool to use to measure where the students are at the secondary level is a question that I have. And another part that I thought was interesting was this, and I'll read it straight from the article. It says, a child who has not yet learned to read will need instruction in one or more aspects of decoding and fluency before moving on to the reading to learn stage. That kind of answered my question. So it was actually pretty cool to read all this because I felt like it was actually answering some of the questions that I had in my own classroom. So this is my mini presentation.